Hi guys, it's me Gordon. Today is day number 3 of our week of prayer, and we'll be carrying on looking at Acts 2, verse 42, where it says they were devoted. And today we're going to be looking at being devoted to fellowship in the household of faith. So where we've been talking about upwards, inward and then outwards, this is very much like the inward rhythm, kind of our relationships with one another, that they would be meaningful. And so we've got 3 verses, same as yesterday and every other day. There's 3 verses to look at, 1 from the Old Testament, 2 from the New Testament. And today we'll be looking at Old Testament is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10 from the ESV. And I'll just read those out now. It says, 2 are better than 1. So 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and he has not got anyone else to lift him up. And so it says in the Bible, it's not good for man to be alone. We were built for relationship, not just marriage, husband and wife, but for friendship and fellowship with one another. On Sunday, I sort of mentioned that it's not just me and Jesus, but actually we're part of a body. We're all connected to one another. And so as we kind of reach out and believe God for the multiplying of households of faith right across Sittingbourne, the main thing really for the whole thing is that there are going to be deep, meaningful relationships that will develop, not just amongst us as believers with one another in geographical areas, but also with neighbours and work colleagues and even strangers that will become friends, and people that ultimately will get to hear about Jesus by hearing the gospel in the way that we live our lives and as we build these relationships with one another. The next verse is 1 John 1:7. It says, but if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all sin. And so there's this real sense that when we're following Jesus, it frees us up to have meaningful relationships with one another. As he is in the light, we are in the light, and we have fellowship with one another. So there's a sense that our sin not only separates us from God, but separates us on this level from one another. And so what we want to do is make sure we're following Jesus, because that's going to sort of be like rocket fuel in our relationships, helping us to love and lead one another really well. And then in Hebrews 10, verse 25, it says, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, all the more as you see the day drawing near. And that day is the day when Jesus is going to come. So every day that we're alive is one day closer to that glorious moment when when the second coming of Christ, the resurrected Christ, is going to return to wrap it all up and rule and reign in the eternal kingdom. And it says, don't be in the habit of not meeting with one another, as is the habit of some. And so don't be lazy. The best way of putting it is, don't be lazy. Don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, you know what, I can't be bothered to go to church today. Oh, it's a cold Wednesday night. I can't be bothered to go to households tonight. Oh, I can't be bothered. It's just been a bit, I'm just going to put Netflix in. Don't be in the habit of doing that, as is the way in the world. But all the more until Jesus comes back, meet together, encourage one another. All the more until Jesus returns. And so pray into these things, that the households that we've got will be built on meaningful relationships, that we ourselves, like you and I, we would give ourselves to this endeavour of building communities that are really meaningful right across Sittingbourne, and we'd see those being birthed, because that's going to be such a wonderful witness to the world that Jesus has placed us in to reach here in Sittingbourne and out into the nation. So have a wonderful day praying today, and see you tomorrow. Bye guys.